3, 2, 1. I was about to say somebody touched my spaghetti. Okay. Right. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. My name's Dylan.
I'm Cian.
And we're also joined by Christian, who is off in the background.
By our Christian.
I'm joined by me.
I said by Christian. Okay.
Yeah, that sounded...
So if you hear anybody chiming in, then it's Christian. You'll know him from the Halloween podcast. And so, it's been a while since we recorded. It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah. I think that's probably our longest time without recording the podcast. They might be somewhat more infrequent in the coming weeks because like Christmas and shit, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe in advance we should record a Christmas one, just to release it on Christmas. You know, just to give people, you know, the guys who don't really have a lot to do on Christmas or aren't spending it with anybody, they can watch the podcast. That's if they're not watching other podcasts. So without for this one, we would sort of open it up by talking about our top 5 memes of the decade, because this is like, I'd say, and that because we've only experienced like 2 decades, is definitely the better one. I feel like this probably has been like the best decade in a while.
Yeah.
Because there's just like, life is pretty much as good as it's ever been. Like if you strip it back to the bare bones, even in a lot of like bad cases, it's, you know, like there's just for the average person on the street, I'd say life is a lot better. And if you think in terms of like media and stuff, it's literally never been better for just consuming content.
We had the summer of 2016.
Yeah, I'd say 2016 was fucking good year, man. Like, it was just like a fast blur, but it was just it felt so good.
And we
in
survived
the moment.
2012.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was a big thing about that at the time, but I've since learned that 2012 we were all meant to die. You know, it's pretty weird, especially when you didn't know that was going on. Could you imagine? You just like, it was almost as if I slept through it, and then I was like, oh. The world was meant to end yesterday.
I remember in school I was terrified at like exactly 12 o'clock.
So it was 12.
And now, our podcast hosts run down the history of Assassin's Creed for, quite frankly, way too long.
There was also some Assassin's Creed, like 3. Like, there was some end of world stuff and that. I was like, what? Coincidence?
Wasn't it Revelations, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of Revelations, like the world ended. Spoiler alert. It's been a while.
No, Assassin's Creed 3, the world ended.
Are you sure? It ended in Revelations as well.
Revelations.
Was it?
Yeah. Good, I know for a fact because I never.
The statue falls over.
Because I never completed Assassin's Creed 3, but I never completed Revelations. Yeah, and then they're in that like futuristic utopia.
Yeah.
And then the statue like falls through the earth and just kills everybody. Do you want me to pull it up?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Assassin's Creed 3.
No, it's
They're in the
Revelations.
caves in Assassin's Creed 3. Revelations was...
No, then Revelations.
Yeah, but at the end of Revelations though.
The entire world ends at the end of it.
I know at the end of
You're thinking
Revelations,
of
there's like a
Desmond.
white van. There's a white van at the end of Revelations. And they go to like... And then Assassin's Creed starts when they're like out of the white van.
No, but there's a
12
flash forward where the entire world ends.
And how did they get to the place? How did they
Because
survive
it's
in
like a
Assassin's
flash
Creed 3?
forward to millions of years in the future.
No.
So Assassin's Creed 3 happens before the world ends.
Wait, so 3's a prequel to Revelations? I remember all this.
This is
Was that
Revelations. Yeah.
Oh, no, I've seen that.
It's Revelations.
Did Revelations come before or after 3?
Before?
Yeah.
But the other flash forward's like set years in the future.
Yeah.
I know,
Thousands,
but like...
thousands.
Desmond sacrificed himself in 3.
So, yeah.
Because Revelations became before. 3.
But the end of the world happens millions of or
No,
thousands
but
of
no,
years in the
no,
future. After
the world
three.
that happened because
That-
Death made a choice that to let the goddess like rule over the world.
Right, we're going off topic.
I did not know that.
Anyway, as we were saying, yeah, because just and then even just for this sort of like comedy has been, this is a funnier time to live than
Yes.
any other time, because it's just with things like memes and the internet, it's just far easier now to share a laugh with someone, and because even if you're like, it's just, you could just be having just a really shit day, where and back in like maybe fucking like 50s or whatever, if you were having a shit day, you just had to deal with it, you know. But whereas if now, if you're having a shit day, you can just look up funny memes that cure my depression, and then you're even if just for a minute, you know, you're just having a wee chuckle, and it just could save your day completely. Obviously a lot of bad shit has happened this decade, you know. There's just things like, there's been more like terror attacks this decade than ever before, probably. But we're not going to focus on the bad stuff, because this is a positive vibes podcast. So we're just going to put that shit over there. Cian, do you want to kick us off with your top 5 memes of the decade?
Yes, I will. Okay, so my number 5 is the Thomas has seen enough. It's time for him to leave.
Yeah. Thomas the Tank Engine is actually such an underrated show. It was genuinely...
It was good.
It
was
genuinely my favourite show as a child.
Oh, I thought God, you had the child part. I was going to be worried for you.
I haven't went back and watched it now, but I imagine a lot of it would still hold up. Because
there's a new one. There's a new animation one.
A lot of new animations are bad though.
Don't want to look it up though.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, because they practically just fucking butchered Bob the Builder.
Uh-huh.
I remember the first time I saw the new Bob the Builder. I was in Liverpool and I walked past this like toy store. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, oh my god, it's new Bob the Builder toy. Is that what he looks like now? It's disgusting.
Yeah. No,
so I burned the place to the ground. Yeah. The Thomas has seen enough ones like just really, like it's not like a very versatile meme. It's very much can only be used for the one thing, but it's solid. It's a solid like
it's a fun
ender.
Meme. Yeah. It's a solid fun.
My number 5 is Dat Boy, or Here Comes Dat Boy. I fucking love Dat Boy.
I've never been a big fan of it.
I love Dat Boy. He's so funny. Like, because there's different variations of it. You know, there's the Here Comes That Boy, then there was he was on his wee unicycle, and there's like other ones. There was like, do you remember like the Ye Old English Dat Boy, or it'd be like Here Come That Fellow. It's kind of shit. That was really that was a good one. It was the wee frog on his wee bike and he had a wee monocle and stuff. It was good. It was good. I liked it. Yeah.
Fellow. Alright, number 4. Kung Fu Panda.
Just
the time has come and there are no accidents.
Yeah, because I feel like for this we can just like group in stuff. Like if you wanted to just say Marvel memes, would be fine because there's so many specific ones.
There was one Kung Fu Panda meme recently. It started to pop up. It's the one of Poe opening the Dragon Scroll.
Oh,
and it's like, it's blank.
Yeah.
It's blank. Oh, that was a good one. Nowadays, really like that template too.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda is just like an iconic film. Like
it's genuinely good.
It is. I don't think I saw the latest one. The last one I seen was the second.
I haven't seen the second.
It's honestly, as long as the first one.
The second one you could miss it. It's not the second. It's just like it's not as a bad movie, but the villain isn't interesting. The bird guy is just like.
Yeah. It's to do with like post past and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then it alludes to his dad because at the end of the movie, his dad's just like, Poe, and then it ends. And then I imagine the third one he meets his dad, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He meets his entire village, and then.
I'm not gonna lie, I wish that didn't happen. I wish the duck was his dad, and they just never explained it. That would have been just so good.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it happens in other things, you know, like SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs'
Or
daughter
what's
is
that
a
game?
whale.
Yeah.
So they're on the octopus game.
Oh yeah, and the Octodad.
Yeah, Octodad.
Octodad, and then
And you
the
have two
octopus.
human kids. And at the end of the game, the kids actually ask the mother, "How is our dad an octopus?" And then it just
So
cuts.
the mom's just like, I'm a freak.
Talon
Yeah.
was a great villain though.
Mm-hmm.
Generally.
So my number 4 is White Guy Blinking, or
Oh, PewDiePie. Doesn't PewDiePie like hate that one?
I think he does because he just sees it loads, but I think it's really good
No, no.
because it's just like it's very versatile. You can just use it for anything, you know. It's
When you blink.
it's a very you know. I think the guy that did that is just a very like unassuming, like chill guy.
Didn't he respond to the memes at some
Yeah,
point?
because and he was just like, I quite like the memes. I think.
It's not anything like bad about him. Like they're like, if there's
Mhm.
a bad meme about yourself, like you know those girls about the disgusting.
Yeah,
like,
it's like, you know that guy that does like the fake Pornhub videos, like sitting with a girl respectfully
Yes,
chatting over dinner. It's like that.
yes.
It's just like a wholesome, funny meme,
Yeah.
and the guy just doesn't have a bad bone about him. Like,
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Well, my third meme. It's got to be those good old Emo Parker. You know that.
Oh. Now take on this.
Some dirt in your eye.
See you, chump.
Give me some nuts. Emo Parker's a good meme. Funny, good movie. Yeah, that's all there is to say about Emo Parker, really. Oh, and the dance without any music.
Yeah, the Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Mans are definitely a lot more memeable than any of the other
Mhm.
ones. Like,
I
nobody's
still
ever
need to see
really.
Homecoming.
You should. It's really good.
From what I heard, it's more like high school, like lovey-dovey like thing, like more.
Yeah, I think Far From Home is better. I think personally, I think Far From Home is, if not Homecoming, are they're two of the best Spider-Man movies for me.
Whoa.
Yeah, because they're just the best films, just all
I
around.
think they're better films, but the old ones have that nostalgia about them and
Yeah.
they're more comical.
Like we were talking about.
But I don't
this,
think they're better films.
we were talking about this the other day, and I do think, while I think they're very good and I do appreciate them for what they are, I think people are very blinded by nostalgia
Mm-hmm.
with the
And
original
memes.
Spider-Man movies. Yeah, and because the thing is with memes, they can very much cloud your judgment of what something is like,
Yeah.
and what like because you'll look at the memes and be like, oh, that's funny, and then because humor very much changes your opinion of something if you find out something is funny.
Yeah. Like Star Wars prequels for a
Mhm.
lot of people.
Yeah, like if the prequel memes didn't exist, and
Oh,
the Spider-Man meme, the Spider-Man probably would have survived otherwise. But if the prequel memes didn't exist, people would hate those movies still,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if people didn't find things like I love democracy, and
Ironic.
have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, shit like that.
Yeah.
If people didn't hear those things, then why are you looking at me like that?
It's tragedy.
Sorry.
Perfect.
I know, I got it
I
wrong, but it's like, it's not the fucking minor thing, right? Whatever. Shut the fuck up. If things like that didn't exist, then, you know, I don't think the Spider-Man would be as appreciated as it is now.
I feel like when it comes to like the old Spider-Man, like the Raimis and the new ones, it's like this, like at least in Spider-Man 2, it feels more raw. Like it feels like when it comes to like you know the new ones, it feels more like Marvel-y, action-packed, you know, like adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's kind of what
With-
Spider-Man was intended to be.
Yeah.
But I prefer the old style
Mhm.
compared to like.
And nobody's
like,
knocking you for preferring
On the
that,
topic
but
of
it's just-
Spider-Man, I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man movie was good. The first one was
I didn't mind
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield one, yeah.
his
I
first
don't
one. I didn't
mind
like the
Garfield.
second one.
I don't know why people think.
I thought he was a good Spider-Man.
I think in the second one, I think he improved a lot more, but
I didn't like the story of the second one. I think it was trying to handle a lot of plots at once.
no, I think as the character, he improved it, because with the first one, I think, you know, the way that, because Spider-Man's meant to be this like awkward, shy,
Yeah.
quirky guy. I feel like Tobey Maguire got that
Spot
all
on.
right, but I think with Andrew Garfield, when they told him that, he took it too far.
Yeah.
Because there's like certain points in the movie where he just barely speaks fucking English.
And Andrew Garfield doesn't look all quirky either.
Yeah, because Andrew Garfield's a hunk, you know. He's like 6 foot tall. He's a good looking, clean shaven guy. He just doesn't fit in at all in that universe. He's not a high school.
He would
like,
work
nerd.
as like an older Spider-Man
yeah.
if
He's
they were
like
to get rid of the whole high
the
school
kind
part.
of guy in high school. He would have been really popular because he's just that
Yeah.
attractive, popular guy. Whereas when he's getting beat up by that other guy, it's just like those are two people that would probably have been friends in high school.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas with Tobey Maguire is like he looks like someone. He looked a bit older than the character was supposed to be. Same with Andrew Garfield, but he sort of,
It makes sense in the second one because they're in like college and
because image wise he looks a lot more awkward and weird, and he fits a bit better. And I feel like that's a bit something with Tom Holland where he kind of falls short, is because he's very he's very manufactured in the way he looks. Because
yeah,
he's
that's what I mean.
Because he's a very attractive guy, but I think he's perfectly sort of suits the role. If they can tweak him a bit,
I feel like he gets personality perfect.
yeah. Because because he looks like a child who should be in high school. You know, it all hinges on this next movie though. How the third one goes. If the third one isn't as good as people want it to be, then I feel like Tobey Maguire will once again sort of peak for people's likeness.
What I want, and what I was discussing with someone about this, is I want a movie that doesn't have. It's gonna be hard because, you know, Marvel's got the whole like cinematic universe thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want a Spider-Man movie that doesn't have something, or has very little like.
You want like a character study?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Like-
that's what they're missing.
Exactly.
Because there's
that's
not
like,
enough Spider-Man in Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
We never get any character development. It takes multiple movies to develop his character, and because that's the thing that Tobey Maguire has, is he's the only one so far that's had a trilogy.
Yeah.
And
no, but he was already like developed in 1, 2, and 3. He had like, you know, he was a problem. Like
yeah,
he himself was a
yeah,
problem.
because that's what the thing with 3 is, because they had enough time to round the character off, whereas with Andrew Garfield he only got the 2, and then, you know, he got sacked essentially for Tom Holland, and then it's just like, don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah, because that's back to what you're saying. Because if they do focus more on characters, because with Tom Holland is like, because he's very young compared to when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire made their movies.
Yeah.
They have a lot more time to do stuff with him, and he seems like he's very invested in doing more stuff with Spider-Man. So they essentially
really was
have.
annoyed when it got.
Yeah, because he was quite pissed. So they have a blank slate with what they can do with him. They could make 5 movies if they wanted to.
They would do 6, I'd say. I think they could go 6.
It's more. It'll depend. If they go with a long, like if they do 6 movies, it depends if the fans get sick of them or not.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with like superhero movies, is eventually people want a bit of rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Where, because with characters like Iron Man, where fucking Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man, you could afford to keep him there forever. But with people like Thor, or not Thor, fucking like the Hulk and stuff, you can afford to change them around because they're not as sort of iconic roles as Iron Man and like would have been.
Yeah.
Back to the memes though. Kind of got off topic there. Was it you or me?
You.
Okay. My number 3 is We Are Number 1. It's more just Stefan Karl in general, though.
Those edits were like they were like always my favorite.
Because it's especially because towards the end he was very much in on the meme, and he would go along with it. And then there was that, you know, he did the cover of We Are Number 1 again.
Studio, and every time there was one like edit of it. It's like it would cut back to the original.
Yeah, because that was very much around the time where it was like We Are Number 1, but every time he says We Are Number 1, it's the B movie, and then every time B is on screen, it's Shrek. And then every time Shrek's
Green and Shrek, it's the entire SpongeBob series played backwards.
Those were really good memes. Like those deserve like an honorable mention. Those kinds of memes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stefan Karl's obviously like he, like some other memes that will occur later on my list, sort of transcended the meme, and became very much sort of just an icon in his own right. You know. Because especially towards the end when he got the cancer and stuff, it felt very much like the community rallied around him, and
they got him that play button as well.
Yeah, because
they did. They finally got his channel to 1 million. I was really part of the community.
Because obviously Lazy Town was just like, it's one of those things where things from your childhood can, because we're that kind of generation who experience all these things firsthand, and so we can go back and look at them. We're just in the perfect sweet spot where we can appreciate them for what they are with the nostalgia and stuff, and then we can also joke about them in a way where it's like, well, wasn't that great, but you know, it's funny and we love it. So, and then I think now we're back. I'm gonna finish up my Stefan Karl thing that I was saying before I went, and so because obviously, I can't remember specifically what I was saying, but towards, I think it's just because Stefan Karl was just such a likable person, and because he very much defined his role in Lazy Town and stuff, and because we never really saw him do anything outside of that. It was just very once the memes came about, and then he sort of resurfaced with it, and it was like, oh my god, he's still around. And then obviously we learned about like the cancer and stuff, and it was like, oh, we sort of have a part to play here, because we, you know, he did something for us when we were growing up. We very much do him this favor and sort of stick with him for it, and that's why if anything, he deserves to be at number 1 for every sort of list. But I feel because with this kind of thing, it's very much anything on the list could be number 1. So I put him in there. So if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, my number 2 is the prequel memes.
I
I think I have one in particular.
Send me a screenshot. I'll put that.
High Ground.
The High Ground.
Or one which I don't think either of you know, but there's an interview between Hayden Christensen and George Lucas. I think it's BT or something. And it was in 2005, and they're like having this conversation about how Anakin and the Skywalkers came about. And it's them constantly saying, so I think Hayden's like, so Mr. Lucas, how did you get the name Skywalker? And then George replies, well, in Star Killer. It's a name, I really like the name Star Killer. Hayden replies, Star Killer? Yeah, Star Killer, Star Killer, Star Killer. And they pretty much share that one word between one another like 4 times, back to back, and then they finally move on. That's a low-key Star Wars meme.
Star Killer.
Let's save that one for this
Where did you
podcast.
get Star Killer from though?
I thought you were gonna say because he had the high ground. That's Skywalker.
There's a lot of good prequel memes.
Yeah, because you could pick. You just genuinely just pick any still image and then add the text, and it's like, oh, I mean,
literally any meme. Like, what about the
Because
Jordan
there's that
attack on
thing
the
I
rookies?
remember I sent that thing to you where it's like chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Yeah. So my number 2 is finally a worthy opponent.
Armado will be legendary.
I just think it's like because the edits of that was just so because I love those memes where they just take out the text.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the one where it's like when you are a amphibian 1,000 or 100,000 years ago and you crawl up on shore, Finn will be leg. Fucking, that's my favorite. It's like one of my favorite memes ever. It's just such an obscure reference. And then there's that. It's just those kinds of memes where it's like, you know, it's like, I see you're a man of a man of culture. And then it's like when you're in Thailand and you're about to like get it on with a girl and she takes off her trousers. I see you're a man. It's like, I love those black bar memes. They could just those are, I'd say, an honourable mention.
Yeah.
We don't do the honourable mentions now. I have.
Yeah, we'll fit in a few honourable mentions before number 1.
Okay, so we've got Shaggy memes, Area 51 and the Weed Runner, Ugandan Knuckles. Do you know the Wii?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a meme? You know, with the butterfly.
Is this a yeah.
Wait, that's illegal.
Yeah.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Shrek. Nyan Cat.
Nyan.
Doge.
Dog.
The Dark Souls memes, like all the rolling ones and the you died.
Sorry, this is fucking casual.
Joe jokes, like to be
You can't forget
continued.
those like Dark Souls like fan art memes where it's like, you know, the guy with the big fucking sword. It's like big guy, small guy holding sword.
Yeah. Joe jokes, so to be continued. Some nice funny anime memes. Bowser. That was a good one. And
weird.
first, the greatest one. Man standing on top of a pillar, then he slips off.
Yeah.
Or the directed one. Oh, what? Directed by
Quentin. Robert Wade.
Yes.
Wade. Yeah.
What about the Seinfeld one?
Yeah. The Seinfeld intro.
Is that like our new podcast intro?
No, it's Seinfeld thing. It was a meme. How did you miss that? Hold on.
Seinfeld, and then there was the one that dun 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 dun.
That's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. It's the meme. So I'll just read us some classic ones. You know, there's Sad Keanu. Fucking One Does Not Simply.
Kermit.
All the other Rings memes, they're legendary.
They're making a wee bit of a rise lately. The Lord of the Rings memes like subreddit is popping off.
Mm-hmm.
There's Took an Arrow to the Knee. Fucking the winning Charlie Sheen one. There's Nyan Cat. Fucking First World Problems. Do a Barrel Roll.
Harlem Shake.
Yeah, Harlem
People
Shake.
still upload those.
People still upload them?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Grumpy Cat. Fucking,
Annoying Orange.
Yeah.
That's not a meme, that's just an icon.
Intensifies. You Had One Job.
Screams in Japanese.
Oh,
Sloths. You know the sloths.
The squirrel from Scratch from Ice Age.
Yeah, there was Leonardo DiCaprio's Oscar was a bit of a meme for a
that
while.
was. He finally got one. Deserved it, obviously.
Press F to pay respects.
That's a huge one.
Let me see. Just do it. Just do it. Fucking Shia LaBeouf. Shia. That was a big one.
Oh, you want some? You want some? I'll
some?
give it you.
Oh, yeah.
That looks like.
Or it's the Xbox message.
Oh, yeah.
Xbox.
The This Is Fine dog.
That is so not true nowadays, by the way. If you even send one F word in a text, you get reported and you get called, man. It's so bullshit.
You said Harambe. Evil Kermit. The future liberals want.
Oh, Ernie's gonna commit a hate crime.
Or I'm gonna Kermit suicide on VR chat.
There's a distracted boyfriend.
That's
Salt
a classic,
Bay.
classic.
He protect, but he also attack. Szechuan sauce, hit or miss. Fucking. This is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito.
And of course, meme review.
There's Gru standing in front of the whiteboard.
There's Gru being like 14 foot tall.
Just in that Gru standing in front of the whiteboard. Then some honorable mentions in that kind of category is Lisa walking out on stage. Welcome to my TED Talk. Old Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What else? The dog sitting in front of the whiteboard. All those ones. All those are pretty good memes. You can genuinely use any of them. So yeah, let's get back to the number one.
Yeah.
Is it you or me?
Me.
Okay.
Pepe. Okay, don't.
Hurry the fuck up! It's a drum roll.
I just did. Pepe.
Right.
That's
I
like
thought you
3
said you were
times.
I thought you said you were gonna change Pepe.
No.
Alright, cool. Well, mine
I am
is
loyal.
also Pepe the Frog. So now we're just gonna have a wee bit of a discussion about Pepe the Frog.
I'm a Pepega.
Yeah, because just Pepe for me is just like it's one of the
We're
ones
not
that's been-
Here, criminals.
Yeah, we are not Nazis, by the way. We're talking about the meme and only the meme. Okay, not the white nationalism, none of that stuff. Alright, that's not what this podcast
Funny
is about.
meme. We're gonna go
We're
to
just
Japan
talking
and buy
about-
Pepe
It's
merch.
just a funny meme, and so sorry, I had to cut that out. Yeah, because just Pepe is just like because it's in a similar
It
way to
doesn't die.
Stefan Karl, but not in the same way. Is that it transcended being a meme
Mm-hmm.
and it became more than a meme for bad reasons, but I still think it's just hilarious that that's what they chose.
We forgot this one.
Yeah, and then there's obviously I have to censor that now, Kane.
Oh no!
Thanks that one, Kane. There's fucking Susan Wojcicki is gonna take it down. We'll talk about this fucking Susan Wojcicki thing after this, but yeah, it's just because just Pepe the Frog has such a it had such a high peak and it was used in everything.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely just respected it.
And now it's become the icon of Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Because Twitch doesn't care about racism, it just uses
yeah,
it.
it just uses Pepe's.
Yep.
There's so many different Pepe formats now. And for us, I prefer the new Pepe design over the old Pepe. The old Pepe looked weird. Now it's just a clean green frog.
Alright, so that is our top 5 memes of the decade. It's been a solid decade for memes because realistically they didn't exist before this decade, so we can successfully say
Oh,
that.
of course they did. You had memes like when you go to school and the teacher doesn't give you homework. It's like the baby.
Well, no, because those came this decade, did they not? Because
Some of them came before.
things like Facebook and stuff weren't really big before 2010.
But this is weird. All these memes are this decade.
Because the word meme existed, but it had a different meaning.
Yeah.
Because our generation and the millennials and stuff have very much changed it.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. So yeah, wanted to talk about recently is one of the probably the biggest event of the year. Halo Reach coming to PC.
Yes!
It's finally here. The game that we could have played any other time is finally on the platform that we all use.
Apart from me. But we have it. Oh, it's so good as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've been tweeting non-stop about it
Yeah.
to you pretty much. Because
Yeah.
no one else is excited.
Go follow Kane's Twitter. I'll
Please
link
do.
it in the description.
I thought tweeting a lot would be success. It doesn't mean anything. But
You know, the key to Twitter is replying to people that have big followers and just say something funny. It's just that's how people
Not
get.
funny, didn't laugh.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, because we obviously we talked about Halo Reach in our top 10 games. Yeah, because like I feel like Halo Reach was definitely, it was on the verge of near extinction, because we checked it out, didn't we, on Xbox?
Yeah, it was day.
We checked it out on Xbox One on like the you know, the Xbox One servers.
Yeah.
There was less than 2,000 people.
And
on
last
the whole
night,
game.
it peaked 144,000 viewers on Twitch, which is the first time Reach, I think, it's ever hit that high a number on Twitch. Or at least one of the first times.
Wasn't it? It was like 144,000
Yep.
downloads as well. So
That's
it's
on
like
Steam alone.
And it's not even, you know, the Microsoft. It's not even thinking about Microsoft Store.
And apparently lots of people got it in Microsoft Store, like more people.
It could genuinely be one of the most downloaded Steam games of all time.
Well, at the moment, it's number one selling.
That's probably trending though in terms
Oh
of
no, even in
sales.
sales, it's current. Oh yeah.
In trending sales, you know what I mean.
Although I think it's the fourth. It's fourth overall in sales.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like a lot of people will probably download certain games from other platforms as apart from Steam.
Yeah.
But Steam is the most recognized one.
And
Because
it doesn't break your PC like a certain other one.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's incredible that a game that came out almost over 10 years ago can still have this much of like a cultural impact.
Yeah.
And just still be as relevant as it is.
Yeah.
I think especially if it didn't play as well as it does, it would have been a huge letdown. But it plays better than ever. It's
so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw this tweet a few months ago when the first beta fly went down. It was Halo was made for PC, and it was very mixed opinions. Some people were like, "No, it belongs in Xbox," but I think it's safe to say
I think it
was made for PC. Just it feels so much smoother and better.
I think I get the idea of what he means, but it was definitely made for Xbox because it's very much a party game, and Xbox 360 was the party console.
Yeah.
That's the thing it done best.
Have you played Mario Party 7?
No, but
have you played Mario Party 7?
Yes.
When I mean party, I don't mean like party. I mean like
bring your friends around to your house, go online with them, and just
you can do that on Mario Party.
Mario Party 7. Did Mario Party 7 just get a PC release? No, it didn't. Because no one cares about Mario Party.
No, I don't mean like, you know, getting a fuck ton of people to your house, like where it's just like it's like an actual like sort of rave party and then people play a game. I mean, it's just like you chill with your boys. It's fucking split screen. You're playing Forge. You're playing Firefight. Whatever, and that's very much what it was made for. But I think on PC is where it will like probably
be competitive.
It will excel the most because it can rely on things like graphics,
modding as well.
Fucking the performance. All the shit is now. It performs better now as it ever has.
And I noticed this last night. It feels like a new release. It doesn't feel like a game. It's an old game that's been brought back. It feels as if this is the first time it's ever been made.
Yeah, because
like
it's
been fully remade for PC.
It's like almost the way the fans are reacting as well. Is because it's like there hasn't been this much hype around a game in a while.
Especially Halo as well. Like Halo's been in the shadows since Reach.
Cyberpunk had a pretty big hype around it, but it has since fucking fell off a cliff edge. You know. And it was like nowhere near this because the only real reason Cyberpunk was as hyped as it was is Keanu. Let's be real. If he wasn't in it, people wouldn't really be giving that game as much of a look as they do.
Yeah, I agree with that, but they would maybe give it a look because the people that made The Witcher. They think about it.
Yeah, it's got that. Like the game looks good, but without Keanu, it doesn't have the.
It was the announcement. They announced it so long before it's going to release.
Yeah.
Which can sometimes be pretty negative for a game.
Because
it loses hype.
Yeah, because it's like there's loads of things like that. That's like why the Area 51 raid didn't do that well. If they had announced it like the week before, people would have been like booking flights. People
even just a month before probably would have given them time.
Yeah,
like Halo was announced about 7 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in
Like,
a
that's
good
why-
time frame.
That's why people were so shocked. It was like, you're going to do this so soon, you know?
And some people were worried about that as well, because
Yeah,
there is, like, Halo Reach has released with one issue. That's that Forge won't be in the game for a few months.
Yeah, but we can
Oh,
we can
yeah.
live with that though. We can live with it though, because it's obviously
they're trying
the
to
kind
make
of
it as
thing-
good as possible.
Yeah, and they want to sort of leave them wanting more kind
and
of
they've
thing.
they're completely redoing it as well. If you didn't know, like they're adding new objects in. You can get like
Because you think how
spaceships
long
and all
it's
that
going
as
to take them to, because they're making it possible you can bring all your old maps to the new game.
that's
gonna
over
take fucking ages.
318 million maps can be played
know?
on Halo Reach.
It's the kind of thing where it's like, if you want it to be good, you have to allow them some time for
Yeah,
that. And it's just because it's the kind of thing. It's like it's scared people. It's like, if you're only going to be working on this for the next 7 months, you're never going to be able to do it.
you're not. It's
But
not as bad as Halo
it's 'cause,
5.
like, yeah, it's because we don't know how long they had been working on it before they announced it. They could have been working on it for like past 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, we want to do this.
Because I don't know if you know this, but Halo 5, when it first released, I don't think it had Forge and it didn't have Firefight
Mhm.
either. It had nothing in it except for the multiplayer and campaign, which is what made its release so negative
Mm-hmm.
to the audience.
Because even see the thing about like modern Halos, like Halo 4 and Halo 5, is it's like,
They're too much like COD.
because Forge peaked at Halo Reach, and
Without a doubt.
it hasn't been as good since.
Like, if I get people hating Reach for it brought in a bit more of a casual, it had like armor lock,
Mm-hmm.
which you've already heard me
Like
last
Halo
night.
Reach
Armor
was
lock.
very much the casual gamers Halo.
Yeah.
Whereas
And it was
like,
probably the biggest global Halo game.
yeah, because there was no lore that you had to follow with Halo
'cause
Reach.
it was the
It
first
was
one.
it was its own thing.
Yeah.
And
But even if it messed up with the competitive side of it,
mhm.
its Forge was just
Yeah,
hands down the best. And its multiplayer was hands down
that's
the
like the
best.
sort of saying. It's it is the funnest Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Like Halo 3, I
It's a
think
great
is-
game.
I think Halo 3 is the best story, because
Halo 2 is the best tournament.
yeah, the other Halos have their own thing that they very much focused in on. Halo 3 ODST is a very good all round game, but things like
It had a very good firefight.
things like it was just like, it doesn't live up to a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't have like the appeal of like a Master Chief or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, while he wasn't really needed, they could have done with something to sort of
Yeah.
hone in all that energy.
I
on.
didn't really like ODST personally, but I just didn't like the approach. Of
I
the
like it. I
campaign.
still have to like go back and finish, because there was a while where I got really into it and nearly
Yeah,
finished it.
I'm gonna finish it
because
when it comes on
it is
PC.
it is a very good game. Because I know a lot of people prefer it to Reach.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for the other ones, because as I said before, I haven't played Halo 2, so this will be my first opportunity
Halo
to properly
is a
play it.
great Halo game.
I've genuinely no idea what happens in it. Don't tell me.
I won't.
But
It's great. It's online as well, even like the multiplayer.
Mhm.
I think
and it will be now.
I love Halo Reach's Infected,
Mm-hmm.
and it will always be my personal favorite. But Halo 2's Infected is the most unique. You don't spawn in with weapons. You have to actually scavenge the map to find your weapons in Halo 2's.
I feel like it could be very annoying for new players though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the kind
Oh well,
of
they've done that in Halo Reach. They've removed all the camping spots. If you haven't noticed, if you try to go into any of them,
Yeah.
but you have the map because
it's
new
because
players.
well, it was obviously it's like, we kind of run our course with that one.
Yeah,
We kind of tested the
yeah, it
limits.
gets abused
Like,
quite a bit.
because they kind of would have had to have revamped that a bit for the new players, because that was very much a socially acceptable thing to have in
Mhm.
your game back then.
And it's also like all like us know where those camping
Yeah.
spots are, which
Because
was
the new
quite a
players would just
big
get
disadvantage.
fucked, and it would turn so many people away from the game,
Mhm.
which I'm honestly
From a
I'm fine with
marketing
them doing
point,
it.
yeah, and it makes it more fun as well.
Yeah, because now
Like,
it's a
you
more
can't
level
camp.
playing
Yeah,
field.
you have to actually play and.
But people will
Transfer
find
it.
their own camping spots. So
Oh yeah,
it will get to a point.
and there's still some that are usable.
I imagine it will be around a time when the new players have got good as well, so it'll make it far more interesting.
And how do you think Halo Reach is gonna? I think its lifespan on PC is gonna last.
Forever, I think. Because it's one of those games that I think could be the new CSGO, in terms of, I think its lifespan will stay that long. Because it has that intense repetitiveness where the repetitiveness is
and it has a competitive game mode as well, specifically for those.
Which I never actually played at the time when I first played it.
So the difference in it is it gets rid of everything in Mid-Halo Reach disliked, like the weapon blooming, armor lock, armor abilities in general.
It makes it more.
It gets rid of all of it.
Sort of it peaks at the competitive
pretty much
nature of it.
It takes Halo Reach and makes it more like Halo 2.
Yeah, because I think it's weird because a game like CS:GO, you look at it and it shouldn't live as long as it has. It is hard to imagine
but there's
why
smartness in it, because you take a game like CS, you take a game like Overwatch, and the main difference between both games is their updates. CS rarely gets updated.
Yeah, but they like consistently, if there's like a problem with it, they'll fix it, sort of thing.
But they don't add new problems.
Because they haven't added anything since the base game.
You don't have to. Like, if a game is stable and is working, you just leave it the way it is. You don't need new maps.
And it's free now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't for a long time. Like, there's people like, I paid for it, you paid for it.
A lot of shooters I've noticed are starting to go for, like, Destiny went free. There's a rumour of Overwatch going free.
Because they realise at this point, it's like,
who's going to pay?
Yeah, because it's such an old game. We've made all our money from it that we need to make.
You can still do, like, cosmetics and buy, like, everyone buys
and they can
packs and
they can afford to keep the servers up at this point for free.
It's like an issue World of Warcraft faces. A lot of people think WoW should drop the payment, because Blizzard haven't made their money from that game.
Because it's like
they make so much a month off it.
It's like most game developers could, for the foreseeable future, afford to make their games free, but it's the kind of thing where it's like they have to make a profit, you know?
Yeah.
Or the people at the top will.
It's why, like, games like Clash of Clans are free, but
the microtransactions.
There's so many of them.
So a lot of games I would be happy if they did that. Like, if they made something like FIFA free, but the microtransactions still existed, I'd be fine with that. Because that's where EA,
and people are going to pay.
That's where EA makes all of their money, is microtransactions. The base game is like barely anything to them, with things like,
and games like FIFA are selling less every year, so it is all about the microtransactions.
That's why they push them more and more, and that's why with the latest one they tried to throw everything.
It's like COD as well. COD has been going downhill in its sales recently.
Yeah, and that's because the thing with Black Ops 3 is that they did it very well with Black Ops 3, and that with the season pass, it genuinely improved the game.
And you got everything. Just
gave you more stuff to do.
Yeah.
Because with the base game, was things like zombies was very much the biggest aspect of Black Ops 3.
And its initial map wasn't necessarily fun. It was
only fun when people had other maps and they used it as a challenge. But because since it was only that one map,
and it just had that weird. Remember that enemy that like spawns in?
The
train that goes around the top.
Yeah, because it was too complicated a layout for like a beginner.
Yeah, I haven't clue what I was doing.
Shadows was. It took you a little bit, but after a while of like playing it and actually doing some research into it, yeah, you can play it. It wasn't the most enjoyable one. The most enjoyable one was the first DLC. It's the hardest one. One of the hardest ones was the third. The worst was the second.
I like the dragon one.
That's the third. Gorod probably.
The worst one, that's what I was saying. It was like at first it wasn't enjoyable, but it took more stuff to come out for people to be like, right, we can use this as a.
And Black Ops 3 is like the only COD in recent years that's been quote unquote successful.
Like people still got really mad about the boots off the ground and stuff. But that was the only bad aspect of it. Apart from that,
I think people weren't too complaining.
Yeah, like people were just like, we're fine with this, but we would also enjoy it if this wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and then now that they've gone back to that old system, it hasn't made the game.
Yeah, it's because it's like the grass isn't always greener. You know, you got the thing that you asked for and realized it wasn't actually what you wanted. It takes for what a really good game, what it takes to make.
Before you say, I think it's more of the community on its own is starting to realize its repetitiveness.
Yeah.
With the games, it's not necessarily they do want that, but they just want something new that involves that.
Because it was like I think the developers realized there was only so far they could take it, and now the fans are starting to realize that as well. It's like, right, they're stretching us here.
I think the issue of COD is the yearly release system. I think if they, instead of having 3 companies work on it, have Activision invest in one of them and do the Halo system of release a game every few years.
Just release it when it's ready.
Yeah, don't just keep releasing game after game and like you have 1 year to progress and then stop. Also, unpopular opinion.
They have like multiple years.
Not really. They release a COD yearly.
Lately, though,
I know, but like each
them
company gets 2-3 years before.
I know, but it's for the player.
Yeah, but if each company gets 2 years, it's like, so one will get 2 years and then
it's
one
3 different companies.
So eventually they all stack up to they're releasing every year, because the 2 years thing is, so it's like, say one company releases a game, another company will release a game the year after, but they've been working for it for 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
And so it'll keep going like that.
There's also the fact there's 3 companies making the same franchise, which can be problematic, and Activision, obviously.
Yeah, because obviously there's going to be a disconnect there between companies, and they're not going to fully understand what
like that was a big issue of Halo 5. If you didn't know, their production company and the advertising company never had communication. So the advertisements were all, Master Chief's going to die, and that had nothing to do with the storyline, because their companies never spoke. An unpopular opinion, but I prefer all the futuristic tech in my when I play COD.
I kind of do as well. I really liked Black Ops 3. It's not my favorite Black Ops, but I didn't really see the problem. I thought it added something interesting to the game.
I thought wall running was fast paced.
It added more of a tactical feel to it, where it's like, right, you have to factor this into your game. Whereas if it's just everybody running on...
It's just Battlefield.
If everybody's running on the ground, then all you have to factor is, that guy's going to come around the corner, or I have to hide behind this thing.
Yeah.
But if somebody's like fucking flying over your head, you have to be like, oh right, he's coming up there as well. You know?
Gets rid of game sense.
Just to sort of to recap what I was saying earlier, is that what makes a game truly good is when they give you something that you didn't realize that you were asking for, you didn't realize you wanted it, because it's the thing with they asked for, right, we want boots on the ground, and then they didn't specify anything else, and then so they got what they asked for, and then Activision will hide behind that. It's like, we gave you boots on the ground, what fucking more did you want, you know? But with something like Halo Reach, whereas we weren't asking for that kind of game at the time, but then it came out and it was like, we weren't asking for this. This is incredible, you know. And so that's
and the Halo Reach just got better over time with the introduction of the MLG game mode. There's something else I was gonna say about a game. I don't remember. Do you have anything to add about any games?
No, this has probably been a really long podcast.
Yeah, I think it's 30 minutes. Shut up.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end this one here, guys. I think it was a very productive podcast. Thank you for Christian for sitting in the background.
Yeah, my ass is very good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, don't forget to leave a like on the podcast, subscribe if you're new. Go follow mine and Cian's social media in the description. Any topics you want us to discuss, leave them in comments. We will be doing at least one more podcast this year before Christmas. We'll likely release on Christmas. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.